every once in a while you come across stories that they're so outrageous that you're just like, that can't be real, or you just go like, I'm not gonna read it because it just seems so stupid. It's like, for instance, it was that one, I think a Swedish scientist says that humans should go into cannibalism for the environment, and I'm like, I'm not gonna read that because I know what it's all about. But then there's some other ones that are just seems kind of weird, and you're just like, wait, what? And this is one of them. This is from the week. It's titled, "Is it unethical to upgrade your iPhone?" Well, for the most part, most people are going to have to upgrade all their phones to get the 5G because our 4G phones currently, depending on if you're LTE, etc., won't be able to pick up that signal. So eventually, if you want 5G, you're going to have to upgrade your phone. Not necessarily right now. 5G is barely in a few cities in the United States alone. So it's today. It says there is always a bitter sort of irony in watching videos of unveiling a flashy new iPhone on your own scuffed and scratched years-old device. As reviews of the new iPhone 11 rolled out this week, and I watched one of them on my trusty iPhone SE from 2016, I almost immediately started doing the math in my head to figure out if I could afford a shiny new phone. Obviously, this is an opinion piece, if you will. But this year's parade of iPhone reviews was a bit different. Where most reviews have traditionally recommended readers upgrade every 2 years, the New York Times, for example, suggested most people with a 3 or 4-year-old phone hold off on buying a new one, which I sort of agree with, because the technology is sort of waning out until you get to 5G. 5G is not necessarily out yet, and I don't know if these new iPhone 11s are 5G compatible. I assume they are, but I'm not sure on that. So again, a lot of I would be happy if I still had my iPhone 6S, I think, and it worked fine. But after a while, the phones do, they do slow down a little bit. But I think I'd be okay with it. I have an XS, XR, whatever the hell it is. It's okay. I mean, I don't see a huge difference other than the camera per se than the 6S, but that's just whatever. I'll continue on here. I'm ranting. The significant change in tone, and it's rooted in an iterative state of smartphone technology. These days, there just isn't much a brand new smartphone can do your current smartphone can't. I just went over that. But this shift also presents an opportunity to reflect on your buying habits. Why did we ever think it was okay to upgrade devices that cost hundreds of dollars every year or two? Well, because iPhone wants you to do it, and Apple. In this moment of increasing environment, oh God.
In this moment of increasing environmental awareness, is upgrading your phone ethical?
Yes, because it's a choice. I thought you liberals like choice. Apparently not. The hundreds of millions of smartphones sold per year use rare metals that are hard to mine and have harmful byproducts. The BBC, giggity, reported on the artificial lake in Mongolia filled with toxic sludge from the production of new gadgets. Such man-made horrors, coupled with the enormous amounts of resources and energy it takes to create new devices, makes the problem all too clear. The more smartphones we buy, the more waste we create, and the worse the effects on the environment. Well, technically, the worse on their environment, not everyone else's, which is, if you don't see it, does it really exist? Yeah, it kind of exists. Of course, every object we use as an environmental cost. That doesn't mean we should stop buying toilet paper or groceries. Here comes the but. But those are products we need. Do we really need new smartphones every few years? Again, pal, this is a personal choice. We don't live in an autocratic society where some small people at the top determine what we can and can't buy. I know that's what you want, but certainly there was a point at which rapid iteration of smartphones was somewhat justifiable. The difference between the first iPhone and the second was significant. At the time, surfing the internet or getting directions while walking down the street felt positively revolutionary. In those early years, say from 07 to 14, there were tangible, pragmatic differences between models. We saw the same pattern with tablets. Now we're seeing it with smartwatches. I don't know why you have a smartwatch. I haven't worn a wristwatch, and since I've started using cell phones, and that was back in 1998 when I had the Nokia brick. Why wear a watch? There's no reason to. It's ridiculous. But now the newest iPhones are functionally barely different from older models, which is, I do have to agree with him on that. Compared to recent devices, the iPhone 11 takes marginally better pictures and is a bit faster, but that's about it. Most people shouldn't upgrade. That's your opinion, pal. Not just because there isn't much different, but because profoundly wasteful to do so. Opinions vary. The trouble, though, is that the digital revolution was so tied to the allure of invention that it's now become hard to shake your addiction to shiny new stuff. Indeed, we are naturally hardwired to seek new things, and it is if Silicon Valley hijacked this built-in human desire. I'm pretty sure they did already. We have become so accustomed to associated novelty and desirability that it's difficult not to succumb to the idea that it is always better. It is just hardware. It isn't just hardware either. Social media sites like Twitter or Instagram thrive on the desire for newness. This is why we refresh our feeds constantly. I don't know about you, I don't. So, I had this computer, and I used it before I got this new one. It's kind of a mid-tier gaming computer, but it's pretty fast. My old computer I bought in 2014, I think, and I used it all the way until May of this year. It still worked fine. I actually upgraded. I have two computers about the same motherboard, and I upgraded them to SSDs, and they're like new now. And could I have gone without buying this new mid-tier, pretty cool lights and flashes and stuff like that new computer? Yeah, I could have gone on without it, but when I rendered a video, it takes double, almost triple the amount of time this new computer does it. So if I wanted to do, say, I render a 10-minute video and I edit it and all that, this new computer does it in 3 minutes. My old computer would do it in 15 to 18 minutes, depending on what what kind of swag I put on there. So I understand that if I just bought this gaming computer, I know what this person's saying, and then I go out and buy another computer 3 months later because it's newer and faster, but it's not much different than the one I have. I see what he's getting at. But again, if a person has the money and can afford it, then why are you busting their balls about it? I get it's your opinion, but again, my opinion is stop busting people's balls about this. What people want from new tech isn't simply a tool to be used, but simply to be excited about, something to fulfill desire for possibility or happiness. I don't know. When I got the XR, I didn't feel any more happier. I just was like, okay, great. I got a new phone. Googling iPhone 11 and boring turns up scores of results from people who found the new devices utterly yawn-inducing. Thought of that way, it's understandable why people keep upgrading their phones. They're looking for fulfillment. It also confirms again that tech has hijacked normal human desires and tried to profit off them. Yeah, I think just a standard human desire. I know when I was in the military, if we came around some, new equipment, and you're like, hey, wait a minute, that's newer than what I got. So you would actually gravitate to that, just because you don't know how long. Let's say it's an e-tool. It's like a small shovel, and you prefer to get a newer one because you don't know how the condition of that one really is, on in the micro scale, how many times that person has been whacking it against a tree. When you really need to use it, you start digging, I think breaks in half, and it's like, oh crap, So, I mean, it's a normal human desire, I agree, but I don't know if, you know what, I do have to, I agree with this person, is that tech always has to sell the newest and latest, greatest thing. So, I don't know. I may, other than, a disagreement with the environmental thing, I may agree with him that, you probably should hold off on buying these new iPhones until something really cool comes out. Should you upgrade your phone? If it still does what you need to do, probably not. Anyone who has a phone less than 3 years old should, almost certainly not. Part of a personal responsibility in the 21st century is about learning to say no to things. The convenience of car culture, the comfort and quiet of suburban sprawl, and the novelty of new gadgets and stuff. Now, this is a dick move to say. The comfort and quiet of suburban sprawl. I lived in the suburbs most of my life. I like it. I don't like living in big cities. I hate it. It's loud. There's a lot of dog poop everywhere. I actually live in a big city right now, just not in the United States. It's my southern command, if you will. And I don't like it. It's okay, but it's loud. It's dirty. You know, a lot of times if I have to, for me to, say I have to go to the hospital or something like that, the hospital's 5 miles away. And it takes me, with traffic, 30 minutes, possibly more, of time to get there. That's just way too much. These things to come with consequences that extend beyond our own lives and wallets, about the broader effect on the world. Oh, God. It is easy to lust after the latest iPhone or phone, but it won't make your life or planet any better. Remembering this is the only way to combat the way we are always asked to sacrifice ourselves at the altar of the new. You see, the thing is that this person doesn't seem to understand. Apple is a big lefty company. Silicon Valley is a big lefty company. And it's funny that this guy is obviously on the left, but yet he doesn't, or she, let's see if it's a he or she. He obviously is a lefty. And though I agree on some of his hypotheses or statements in here, he obviously lives in a big city and he despises the people who live in the suburbs. It looks like the convenience of car culture. That's another one. It's like, are you serious, dude? Come on, man. Just because you live in a big city and you don't like cars doesn't make, you have to tell what you're trying to do is trying to tell people who live in the middle of the country who don't live in big cities, you need to give up your car and ride the bus. But there's no bus. Like, go in the middle of Iowa, look for a bus ride to like next town. Not going to get it. So I get what he's saying, and I agree with him. You don't need to upgrade your iPhone if it's probably 3 or 4 years old. However, if you want to do it, go do it. If you've got the money you can spend on buying a new iPhone or a new Samsung or whatever, go ahead and do it. Who's stopping you? Don't let this knucklehead stop you. And don't let the far lefties stop you. Yeah, you may pollute a couple lakes in Mongolia, but, hey, you got yourself a new phone. Loud out.